And she said she doesn't know if she can continue to work it. Yeah,
Well, we're not going to-
didn't have to touch it.
Right, I pulled that out. Oh, okay. We're gonna need more.
All right, folks, at this time, I'd like to call the Finance Community Development Committee, the Common Council City of Plattsburgh to order, February 10th. And it is 5:06 p.m. Sorry for the delay, appreciate your patience. First order of business is the approval of the minutes of the January 12th, 2023 Finance and Community Development Committee. Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Kelly. Any changes, deletions, or alterations? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 2.1, draft resolution establishing capital project H5110.93 2023 Saranac River Trail Phase 3. Motion. Councilor Vaughn, second. Councilor Gibbs, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 2.2, draft resolution amending the NYSEG Green Street Property Access Agreement. Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Kelly, discussions.
Yeah, could you explain this to me exactly? I know they had agreed to
Yes.
fix the road after they got done working down there. Yes. So what is this exactly?
So 2021, City of NYSEG entered into an access agreement that gave them access to McDonald Park fence and also to the landing by the Green Street boat launch in order as a staging area for their ongoing remediation work. The two conditions of that access were that they would spread topsoil and grass seed over the former footprints of the NLD site on Green Street, which they did in early 2022. And that they would repave the section of Green Street, which they would be using during their remaining remediation work in the river from about halfway between the boat launch on Green Street and the water treatment plant, all the way up to the intersection of Bridge Street. Ongoing planning efforts related to Saranac River Trail Phase 3 indicated that considerable work would likely be done to Green Street as part of that project, including potential widening of the street. So to have NYSEG spend a considerable amount of money to repave a section of Green Street, which we would then likely tear up just a few years later, didn't make much sense. So we asked them to provide a figure for what that cost equivalent would be for that repaving work. They provided $138,000. I spoke to Public Works, asked them whether they thought that was a fair price. They thought that it was. So we negotiated a deal with NYSEG whereby instead of repaving the street, they would reimburse us the cash equivalent of $138,000, which per the 2.1 resolution for the Saranac River Trail Phase 3 capital project would be put directly towards costs associated with SRT. And that's what this agreement does.
Hey, Matt, just another question. They have an anticipated completion date of that? I know.
The river remediation work is complete as of last October. They've got one more phase in the lake bed out in Lake Champlain, but the scope of that is still being clarified between themselves and DEC. So, but the staging area and most of the disruption that folks in the city have grown used to on every annual basis each summer, that's going to be far less noticeable because they will be out in the lake and they will no longer be working out of the MGP site there on Saranac.
Great, thank you very much.
So Matt, we're still gonna get improvements to Green Street though, right, through the harbor?
Yeah, as part of Saranac River Trail Phase 3.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Carried. 2.3, draft resolution authorized Skyward agreement for Harborside Hotel development. Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Kelly, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm not saying.
Yeah, I'll be a nay, but I'm not either for or against this. I just got this yesterday and I really had some questions that I would like to have answered on it, so. Not, don't feel I have enough information at this point.
Okay, appreciate that. This is an approval to move this item to the regular meeting. We will have another week, to review and please ask any questions that you may have, to clarify that, so that we can, have a, it's a full council voice on this one, would be nice. So again, both Matt and Dean and myself, of course, are available to answer those questions. I know we're outside of the discussion, but so we have 3 yeses, 1 no's, 1 abstention, and I'll cast a yes vote to move this item to the regular meeting for consideration of both ends. Carried. 2.4 draft resolution authorizing an MOU with Clinton County Health Department for A405039 subaward active community concept plan motion. Councilor Kidd, the second. Councilor Kelly, discussion.
Yeah, did I read somewhere where we're matching, or we have to come up with another 40,000 for this?
400,000?
No,
That's what I thought I saw in my thing.
this would allow us, this would make us eligible for a $8,000 grant to implement. community street
Oh, this is the
development.
8,000.
Yeah, this is-
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 2.5 discussion Harkside master plan review. Matt, can you just give an overview of what's expected? I am just to remind council, mostly to inform everybody here. Council's been provided the draft document for the Harborside master plan. Please retain that. That's the thing that we're about to ask you to review and provide comments on. But I'll have Matt put it to that sentence.
So in 2019, the city received a grant from the Department of State to complete master plan for its Harborside area, and that area was defined as everything to the north of the railroad cuts down by the water treatment plant. Certain sections along the Saranac River as it goes up the town, and also the entirety of the NYSEG MGP site there in Saranac. Over the course of the last 18 months, we have had half a dozen project advisory committee meetings, an extensive public outreach program that included a survey that got over 1,000 responses, which I think for city projects might be a record. 3 public information meetings, extensive consultations with our consulting engineer for the project, Martin LaJudas. And the end result of all of that work is the more or less 50-page document that is before you now, and it covers everything from the previous plans and funding that had touched on the various areas from 1999 until as recently as 2 years ago. It includes, that's about 10 pages of those almost. An existing conditions profile, man-made structures, above ground, below ground infrastructure, transportation and circulation systems, historic archaeological resources, floodplain, wetlands. It's a full study of the entire site and what it can be best used for. So the point at which we're at now is this is referred to as the draft master plan. It's been submitted to the Department of State for their review. They're going to provide us any comments they have. I've submitted it to the project advisory committee as well, and the council too. And we have asked everyone to review it carefully and send us any comments or changes that they would like to request no later than February 24th. So that those changes can be incorporated into a final plan that can eventually be adopted by the council and hopefully serve as the basis for many future grant applications to actually implement a lot of the improvements that are recommended in this plan. That's it.
Well, the question is then, when's the deadline for response or for contribution?
We're asking that any comments, question be submitted by February 24th. We're then going to take a couple of weeks to incorporate all of those requests and then present the council with a final plan for acceptance, hopefully sometime in March.
Questions?
I just want to say thank you for giving us printed out copies. That'll just make it a lot easier to review than having to scroll down pages.
Yeah, absolutely. Any further questions for Matt regarding the
Yeah,
review?
before I step away, I am gonna let John Ruff speak a little bit about the Environmental Learning Center, which is a key component of the plan and is going to hopefully result in substantial improvements to the water treatment plant.
Well played, Matt.
It has been discussed for a long time about upgrading the architectural aesthetics of the wastewater plant, so it's not an impediment to the full use and enjoyment of the waterfront or to private development coming in and investing near a facility like that. Part of those architectural upgrades has been expanded a little bit to incorporate an environmental learning center, which would be based on the water cycle. Where water comes from, how it's treated to make it potable, how when we use it, we pollute it and discharge it to sewer pipes, and then how that water needs to be cleaned up. And how those processes work, and people will be able to come down to the plant if this project is constructed and learn about all that kind of stuff, and then actually go up on top of the plant and be able to see different parts of it actually have things they just learned about at the learning center happening in real time. The committee found that it should be a destination of people, a place where people in the community can gather and not only learn and enjoy and have an activity, but also enjoy each other's company and also participate in the other developments and improvements that are planned for down in the area.
And by all means, there are about 600 pages worth of appendices that accompany the plan. I didn't print that out for obvious reasons, but you're welcome to take a look at this too.
Thank you. 3.1 discussion 2022 year-to-date report.
That's the same report that we already issued. It's December preliminary, we're still working on closing books for December. That'll go on probably for another couple of weeks, searching for unreported liabilities and expenses, finding them every day. And we rolled into 2023 as of today. So we will prepare a January report within a couple of days.
And typically we do provide those reports at the committee time, but once we get those reports from Richard's office, both the year-end 2022 report as well as the January report, will forward those out the moment that my office receives those. 4.1, I'd like now to take a motion to go into executive session to discuss the proposed sale of real property, the public discussion of which would substantially affect the value thereof, as well as matters leading to the employment of a particular corporation. Motion by Councilor Kelly, second. Councilor Bond, all in favor? Now in executive session.
No grant funding, but we have. And we have the state all the development fund. There's a lot of gas involved there. I'll see my money's got to pay back, but yeah, it's something that she's lower funding for. Okay. Not since I've been here.
I haven't seen it in years, but we think it's the same.
I mean, a lot of the funding that I think we were talking about, the city had some programs as part of the old revolving loan fund. There were a lot of issues with, we spent the last 2 years or so ironing out all those problems. So the new one has got some, more red tape involved, but we're in compliance with all the regulatory. Yeah. Yeah. That is gonna be a long one, short one.
Don't know. So I guess it's gonna be quick then.
Unless we grab it.
Oh, you're nice.
Came to fetch California for the lines class.
Still.
I You're not allowed to leave.
No.
Heard about that. Transparent.
Yeah. Look outside.
It's gone through every season almost.
Yeah, I watched it, it was like raining earlier, then it started snowing, now it's like it was a mix from the heat came in our office, and now it's.
My sister is driving to Michigan right now,
Ew.
and she's going through like 65 minutes.
Terrible.
She made it out of here.
People.
He's from Pennsylvania, what are you talking about? Where, did she start from here?
Vermont.
Oh,
I don't. Things we do for our partners.
well, where is she going to Michigan? Simon was born in Oscoda. Have you ever heard of it? No, I've never been there, other than when I was born, my dad was in the military, so.
I've driven all over the country, Michigan has by far.
So is it? I've never.
They don't have tolls
That's
on any of their routes.
Oh, sorry,
in the
I need
state.
to do this.
Yeah. I don't know where to get money, but you need to get more.
Well, the Air Force Base I was born at was closed. So, I don't know where it is, I'm in Michigan. Someday I'll see where I was born. Hospital's probably gone too. Does your family still live near Harrisburg? Are they in, like, that?
They're on the other side of the river, Susquehanna River on Harrisburg. 10 minutes away.
Oh, okay. Now that we've gone down to see, well, he's not there anymore, but when he was in, Emmitsburg, Maryland. So you always, Harrisburg was the point to get off the 81.
81, then 83 goes south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go over to Maryland.
83, Northern Maryland, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
Horse farms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where we get off. Go to Harrisburg. And it takes you to Gettysburg, so I don't know what that is.
That is 15.
Yes, 15.
Yeah.
And then you go on 15 for like 20 minutes, maybe an hour, and then you're there.
Okay. Gettysburg's not too far from Mason Dixon.
No. And then it's for Gettysburg or, they're all like 15 minutes from each other because of American.
Mhm. You've been to the Belfort now?
Yeah. You think, have you been to Gettysburg? So you go to Gettysburg, and everywhere when we were little, I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be this big thing, but it's not, it's just, there's a field.
Yeah.
So we did,
Every decade or so, they find another body.
yeah, well, we did the, because it's just him and I, when we go to North Carolina, when he was younger, I would just stop somewhere and have, take a weekend to do something. So that was the thing we did that year. And so I, thank goodness I did a ghost tour the Friday night we got there, and then in the morning we did a bus tour, because I wouldn't have known what to tell them for history.
Yeah.
Like, good, somebody else did all the.
My uncle was a huge Civil War buff. He used to take them as a kid on like just tours.
Yeah,
Two of us.
so you go on the reenactments and all that.
No, not reenactments, just read every handbook that ever wrote.
Yeah.
Watch that war.
Yeah.
His house was like a library.
And Pittsburgh's a neat little town, because it's right near it, and it's the Gettysburg. So it's
There's a lot
very
of nice
historical.
towns down there.
Yeah.
As far west of that, you look in the mountains, the
Well,
valleys.
I mean, the mountains are right around Emmitsburg, or the Kentucky Mountains or something, I don't know what they're called, but it's beautiful, like they've got a whole bunch of trails and.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there, I should say, we didn't meeting about.
You don't have anything else on there, do you? No.
That's kind of interesting, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not far.
Yeah, as you say, I think it's worth that.
Well, actually, it's better. Ran out to the post office earlier and it was nasty. It was like being pelted in the eye with snow.
Now it's raining, it looks like.
Really slushy. Wow.
Well, I-
I don't think they come out and ask me, you never know. So you can wrap it up after. The town full record.
That could be.
Thanks.
As long as they're not in there, it's too.
Yeah. She's not saying any longer
I can see
Thirty
the longest executive session they've had.
than, since I've been here, probably only like an hour.
All right, have a good night.
Okay, sure. Nice job tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Wasn't tonight, it was all the work that went into it.
Yeah.
So there for the next week.
The hard part's done.
Yeah. Did you say you were in Europe? You lived in Europe? Where did you live?
We lived in Brussels.
Oh, right.
And then my husband's job got transferred to Paris, so we were in Paris. I was over there for a little 3 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my brother, travels to Brussels for business sometimes. But they live, I think I told you, they live up in Alsace, which is
Yeah.
right there, I'm sure. But we met them in Lyon, France, which is really pretty.
Um,
Julie, do you remember Julie this summer? Did you meet my niece?
No,
Um,
she must have finished before.
Yeah, she
I
finished in
started,
July, at the end of July, I think.
And that's just when
Yeah.
I started.
But she, so she was tour guide, she had made all, because we only were there 2 nights, so she made all the reservations for dinner places, she had decided which would be good places to stay, you know.
And
everybody.
this is your niece that going to a restaurant.
Yeah, well, she's more like marketing, stuff like
Oh.
that, Courtney does, but she's doing it for her job. She got a job, because I don't know if you know how their college works over there, they get a job that from a company that sponsors them to go to school too, I mean, to get their bachelor's degree or master's degree or whatever.
Wow.
So they work for 3 weeks and go to school 1 week. And they, company pays for everything, their schooling and their room and board and stuff. Yeah, so she's, it's a hotel, like a luxury hotel chain over there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what she's doing. when
So,
she-
and then, so she's going for communications.
Marketing, yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's what she's doing, but she just sent me a picture today. They were having, she had 3 weeks, the week we were there. She was in her work, week. And so this week was her school week, and they were going to a place to learn about beerology, how to market.
Where were they going?
Somewhere in Lyon, it was still that way.
Um,
So
But
then,
Lyon is, it's such a food.
Yeah.
Place.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
she took us to a really authentic Lyon France restaurant. Then one night,
Okay.
So that was more like, I mean, there was a lot of fish and I don't eat wild stuff. My husband like weird things.
Oh, like wild game.
Well, he tries anything. I'm not that adventurous. Like when we were in Italy, he ate octopus one night, he ate boar, yeah. I didn't get that. I don't get that adventure. But what is he saying? Oh, yeah, so but it's a beautiful place, you know, very nice, yeah.
It's not a place I've ever understood. It felt like we were there forever, but then at the same time.
Yeah, you get to see what, yeah.
Like you fall into the same patterns.
Right.
So, yeah, and
Because from my brother's house, he said it was only 3.5 hour drive. So it wasn't far for them.
no,
And her sister's in Frankfurt, Germany, so she took the train. Well, she took the train, I guess, to her parents.
yeah, because you can't, there's not a train really
No.
close to Alsace.
No,
It's easier to drive.
yeah.
'Cause we were going, we got lost in the mountains there, like we got detoured in the mountains there in the middle of the night. We were driving up from Switzerland back to Brussels and we just had no idea, we just.
Is your husband, easy going or does he get?
No.
nervous?
I'm pretty easy going.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, it was just a wild night and we were really tired and there were no services in there.
Stop and pull over.
No, we were just like, it'd be like driving between, you know, the back roads between here and Bloomingdale
Oh, yeah.
or something. It felt like that. And just no lights, no signs, just. have to
Know where you were.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we must have missed it here in Colorado. We were never going.
That was,
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, so like that was like where.
and it is actually now that you said that, it is, I've been there a couple times when my brother has driven us around, it didn't quite. Oh,
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
lovely trees and.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Well, it reminds me like of Lake Placid too, but like you said, more of the rural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dispersed population.
Yeah. Have you been to Rome?
No,
Oh, it was.
no,
We will go back someday.
I don't know if I told you, but my husband was. It's a little embarrassing. He's been doing Duolingo for 6 years straight.
What does that mean?
Have you heard of Duolingo? It's an app on your phone.
Oh, that you
to
can-
language learning.
Oh, yeah.
He's been taking Italian every single day for 6 years straight. So since pretty much since we left. No, we left a long time. But, anyway, so maybe since we got married. But the next time we go back.
He wants to go to the lake, because now he knows all the time. It is actually, I mean, I read, because I took Spanish, and then my sister-in-law, she said there's similar words, because she speaks French and German, Greek and German, you know.
Yeah,
And
and
she's dying.
it's easy, fairly easy for French speakers to process.
Yeah,
As
she
well.
said that, she said she found it easier. I mean, I understood a little bit, because some of the words are the same, you know, they just static. You can see where the derivative was from the thing, what you have, but it was interesting to hear them, you know, talk.
I love being nurse and having different languages surrounding me. It's just like being enveloped in the thought.
Oh, my,
I love it.
like, there, my brothers and family, they speak French to each other a lot of times. But they're so big, so like, they don't want you to think they're talking about it either, so they always
That's
speak
nice.
English to us too. But I love to hear them, you know, trying to pick up something, but I don't know usually. Because I took Spanish in high school. If I know my brother was gonna marry a French lady, I would have taken French.
Oh, I know. I took Spanish in high school too, and I feel like I was a fairly good Spanish speaker and somewhat. And then same.
Yeah.
My husband. I didn't plan on it,
Yeah,
but he got the job overseas.
yeah.
And then we were talk to them.
Yeah, and then you try to learn French when you're so thinking Spanish sometimes it's hard.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I had a hard time.
My teacher took that outside. Like, it's,
Yeah.
I gave my mind like, yes.
Well, I tried to take French here, like it put in a conversational French, but if you're not using it every day. Not, I was hoping I could take it and then, remembered enough to talk with them when we were together, but it's not like I said, if you're not using it every day, I use it.
Yeah. I didn't make just.
Yeah. Well, I said to my nieces, do your friends know that your dad's American? And they're like, oh, yeah, they can tell me. And he said when he first started, because he was working for his wife's company, his wife's father's company. And so there's similar words, so maybe something that means shoe, he was using in business for another word that was similar, and they would laugh, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. Especially like in a group meeting where you're having a conference together. He said it's tiring because you're trying to process it. You
I'm
know,
sure. Yeah.
So some when he gets home after having a meeting and stuff at work, a lot of times he's just exhausted. But he's done good though, because he didn't take any languages in school, because back then we didn't have to take languages to graduate and stuff when we were kids. I couldn't believe how much he's picked up.
That's great.
Yeah, of course, he has to use it all the time, every day. I mean,
It's part of his life.
yeah,
So what did you do?
he's a sales, his wife's company is both in meeting rooms, you know, the shuttlecock thing. It goes back and forth, it has a thread on it. Well, her father's company, they made those wooden things, but nobody uses them anymore. That's what they started.
My happened too.
Does she?
Yeah.
If she needs more, I can get them.
That's what I know.
But, so now, of course, nobody's using it.
Yeah.
All meeting rooms and stuff, a lot of them are electronic or you know, they're not using those old ways.
Yeah.
So I think they diversified into doing some plastic, like fasteners, and stuff. They would sell to somebody who's, like the inside, like your car, something that would fasten on the inside, like your top,
Okay.
your upholstery thing,
Yeah, with the,
something you wouldn't see.
yeah,
They sell to a lot of training. They're actually one of their contracts, all strong. So probably like a Bombardier would use something they make, but,
yeah,
he said,
there's a company here that started in Westport and then moved to Roseboro, General.
can they do that too?
Not not that line, but they. Similar.
Yeah.
But there's this like more type.
Oh, right. I think he's using plastic, something. I don't know.
It's amazing what is in compassion
Mhm.
and how profitable it is for
Mhm.
other people and employers.
Yeah.
For their employees.
Yeah. He's,
So he really has to. Well, maybe because what I was wondering is like, can he get a general vocabulary down? Or does it have to be a broad-based vocabulary?
I think now he's been there since he was, so he's been there 23 years now, so I'm pretty sure he's, yeah. And they, like I said, they speak French a lot together at home. But sometimes he said, his daughters will speak English to him a lot of times, just because it's easier. But like Julie, you can't even tell she's French, she doesn't even have hardly an accent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in fact, she went to somewhere, my son-in-law took her to somewhere, and they're like, she's French.
Also, when they learn to learn English, wherever they learn English, that's the accent. Or
Yeah, and he doesn't have, we're not, like our family's from the South, so if she learned English if he had his Southern accent, I think she would have sounded wrong. But he didn't. But in fact, her sister is older, but because Julie has picked up French or English more, her sister speaks wonderful French, English too. But I'll see her asking her sister sometime, the right word or something, yeah.
Yeah, English. I would like to use my French more, because I put so much effort into trying to learn it.
So you went to like school while you were there to learn French. What do they speak in Belgium?
Yeah, French and Flemish,
Oh.
and Flemish is.
Oh.
all over the world. So when I got there, I was like, which is it gonna be?
Yeah.
And like, so it goes into French. I learned a lot about Belgium and the makeup of the country. It's just, it's a really crazy divide. between French and Flemish. But yeah, so I started taking French classes right away in Belgium, and I think we were only there for about a year. Or I might have only been there for 6 months, actually, because then I got a job with Macros and went to training, and then started leading trips. Shortly after Andrew into the switching for tariffs. But so I was in the school mentality. I had just gotten done with my master's, and so I was just in full on studying mode when I was taking French and thinking, okay, I can look through this.
Yeah.
And I was, but at the same time, I wasn't retaining it, and I wasn't using it as much as I needed to in my daily life, because we were both English speakers. And so I was just, there was this disconnect between.
So you're using enough to go out, like go to the grocery store or something
Yeah.
in France, but you weren't.
I could do that, yeah. I was building my vocabulary, but I wasn't able to formulate sentences very well. And carry on a conversation.
Right.
So,
I'm always amazed at people that can speak more than one language, especially if
I know.
if they did it later in life, like my brother being able to speak two different languages, it's like amazing. You know, I can understand when they're kids, if they grow up with it, maybe that's why they're so, but when you're older as an adult. It's
I
hard.
admire people who speak language like that. I feel proud that you say the words.
Well, like my sister-in-law, when we were in Paris with them, she heard some people talking. They were a young couple, but I think they were speaking Greek. And she went up to them and spoke with them in Greek, and asked, because she thought they wanted her, she asked them, because I think they were talking about taking a picture. And so she went up and asked them if they wanted her to take the picture. Yeah, I'm like, I told you I speak more than one language. We're laughing.
And then I just demonstrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's common in Europe and
Yeah.
outside of US for people to speak up to like foreign
Yeah.
languages. Once you get onto your third language, 2 languages is hard, but then that gives you a base to pick up a third. And then after that, I think it's very easy. And then it's just like, it's like bagging high keys.
Yeah. When we went to, we owned the first restaurant she took us was an Italian restaurant, like we've been in for 12 days. So, but the guy was actually, he was Italian, living in France and speaking French. So then I said, we just came from Roma, and he went, Roma? From, where did he say, Pompeii? And then he points to another waiter, Roma, or he's from Roma. They said the girls were like, we knew you were gonna say something about me. I'm like, you know, I just. See if he knows the guy, our guy that we had over. Did you know Chichi? We had. But yeah. But that needed a, well, of course, I don't know how long he's been in France. He should have been there a long time to pick up both languages, because he was speaking to them in French and. When you're ordering, they're obviously big because we're sitting in a restaurant. And they don't do it as much in France. In Italy, a lot of times they did put English underneath. So what you were ordering.
Yeah.
But in France, they didn't do it as much as I thought, you know,
Yeah.
So they had to like go translate the whole menu before. I'm like, no, just pick something that you know I like.
Oh,
bland.
yeah, we had some funny times like that too.
Yes.
Well, and then, but when we would get into like Cornish countryside, that's when we were like cat and water, because like, because we neither one of us could translate to the other, and the language was so different from even this one.
Yeah.
We couldn't even order a coffee. It has directions.
Yeah,
It was disarming.
yeah,
But usually when we got to eat or whatever, we're together.
yeah.
So what is that?
Well, when we were in, actually, when we were in the CV, we went into this restaurant and they didn't have any English, so she sat us, we could tell she spoke English, so she was talking to us. And she said, "Do you want help with the menu?" We said, "We love it." Even she spoke this thing. And she spoke really, really good English, so she started, like, I thought she was English or American, British or American. So we got to talking with her, and she grew up in Vermont, went to UVM. I said, "We're in Plattsburgh, it's across the lake." So she said, "Oh, I think my sister had a roommate that was from Plattsburgh." I'm like, "No, she is." I know, it's great. But people behind us were Americans, and they were trying to figure out where she was from. She was joking with them, and she said, "Oh, by the end of the night, I'll let you know." And they were trying to like, "You're from England or something, because she don't sound." So I'm like, we had already talked to her, so we knew where she was from. But yeah, but the waiter that she had working there, I think she was like a sous chef, because she had it was a small restaurant. So she had the waiter come over to us. We're like, my husband doesn't drink, so I wanted a glass of wine, so I just said, one. Like that, and I'm like, just one.
You gotta be careful what you do. If you put this in that, oh, she wants to.
Yeah. So she finally came back around, and she heard, she was over at the bar. She comes over, she said, "You want a glass of wine, but you don't, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you."
It's scary.
Yeah. I'm like, he was not getting what we were trying to say, and then he used German when I was, and that 1 and 2.
Bye.
Yeah, something, bye.
I was trying to learn Swiss German. But it's better to learn German and then
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. I had a friend when I was when we were in Hawaii, my dad was in the military. I had a friend whose mom was German, and she talks numbers, but the only ones I could remember were like, "I'm tried." Yeah. We had a good time. It was fun. We saw, I mean, I don't know if it was like sitting out in front of the Pentagon, 3,000 years old, and you're sitting there and you've got the wine and everything. 3,000 years old, everything here is 200 years old.
And being normal.
Yeah. And you got all these like apartments and businesses, and buildings like that, 3 or 4 stories. They're not very tall, so all around, and then all of a sudden you see this gray building. It almost looks like it's like photoshopped in, because it's the color of the building doesn't match. I mean, it's not like the yellow and white of the buildings. It's just like flawless.
A total contrast.
Oh yeah, it's just, I mean, it's beautiful. It's just amazing every time I look at it. And then you see the Colosseum, and I mean, even Vatican, that's how many thousands of years old, and like nothing. And she'd say that the tour guide, like, "Oh, this is newer," and I'm like, "Oh, what's newer? Oh, 1,300." Okay, that's newer. 1,300 years old. Oh, but it's just. We went on a little there was a catacomb somewhere, we went into that. It's just we stuff, you just don't see all that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Where people had been buried in.
I never went into a garden. I wanted to go to the one that's in front of Notre Dame. It's like in front, one of the entrances was, but it kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Well, and I could kick myself because when we were in Paris, my sister-in-law and my brother, and she was our tour guide. And she's like, do you guys want to go to no town? Like, their line was really long and we had our kids remember. I'm like, no, I guess we don't. I really would like to, but. And I'll never get to see you.
I was the same way. I didn't want to go in these lines.
Yeah,
I mean, it was always a mouse.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I could kick myself.
And then one day a friend of mine, we were gonna meet up and she's like, what do you want to see? What do you want to do? And she's like, I just want to take a picture of my documentation.
Mhm.
And I think we timed it, so we missed it.
Yeah. When we went there, she took us to the Louvre and she said, the first thing we have to go to is the Mona Lisa because then it gets packed in. So we got right there, got to see that and then went on after. So, but things like that, you don't even think of unless you.
No,
Yeah.
I only went to the Louvre once. I mean, into the museum actually, only once. And it was a mosque.
Yeah.
And it was a slow day, but one of the things that was good about that building, going down the escalator, is if you're going to the entrance of it, there's this tour your store.
Yeah.
The buyers, they were like,
I know that was weird. Because there were all those stores down there. That's really weird.
yeah, just an underground.
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Yeah. I miss those things.
Yeah.
Just. Yeah.
We went up to, so we went. Started in Rome for 4 days, and then we went up to DV overnight, the tour there.
What's this movie like?
It's really cute little town. It was where like St. Francis of DV was from, and he's buried, or he has a tomb in the bottom of the church and stuff. But it's all up. No way.
Yeah.
Because you come, I'm certain, literally, you come out of the door of the hotel and you're like this.
Right. I
Your back
is
rolling.
can't
If you
see.
put your luggage down, it rolls. But there were hills and hills and steps, everything. And it's small, so the tour guide was telling us it used to be like a population of like 50,000 people in there, but now people have moved out down, they call it downhill. And they are basically renting and doing Airbnbs with all their properties. And there's,
And
there's
that's
probably only like maybe 5,000 people that live there anymore that are
Yeah.
people, yeah, that were original.
That's too bad.
Yeah, and then we went to Florence from there, stayed over about 4 days in Florence, and then did some day trips to like Siena and I think it's Siena, Rubio, Luca, Pisa. Pisa is really just the Pisa, the town, because everything else, our driver was telling us that it's basically just a tourist thing for that. But there's nothing, I mean, people don't stay around Pisa, it's very commercial, and trying to sell you stuff. It's one of those where they're trying to sell you trinkets and all.
Yeah.
It's kind of like little,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was,
Burgers.
yeah. So we did that, but, Florence is beautiful. And actually the girl at the restaurant, this museum, we were telling her, and she said, well, Rome is like New York City, and some people, and Florence is like Boston. So it did have like, you know, it's not as busy.
Okay. Smaller.
Yeah. But it was nice to see. But yeah, Rome. And that was a lot of hills too. I don't know if people. There's just no way you can get people. I mean, you're walking along, it's going like that, and all of a sudden you have steps to go up. I'm like, what the heck? In this road, you're like, how do you want these down to get to the next road? And it's like, really? But yeah, it was fun. Probably time for you know.
I thought it was gonna be my husband and like, I just checked in the meeting, he's there.
Well, I put the sign up that says executive session. It would tell them that. But you don't know how long. It's been.
Yeah, never my neighbor.
No, so you live in Willsboro,
Westport.
Westport,
Yeah,
and you like the area.
I do, yeah, I mean, it's a bit more sleepy than I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought our house 5 years ago, and we've been working on it ever since. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
So we've turned the corner, basically. It's not as hard. In Boston. As it used to be. But we're right on Main Street, you know, all of our neighbors. Who walks.
Yeah.
All that.
And isn't there a lot of like, can you walk to restaurants and stuff like that?
Yeah, in the summer.
Oh,
I mean,
there's not a lot.
well, that's the thing. So when we first moved there, there was like a little grocery store, a convenience deli store, and some of that. There's everybody's market too, which we've formed nobody's market, but that's no longer in business. And then there were a handful of restaurants also, because there was the Westport Hotel. Oh, and the brewery. The yacht club is open in the summer, the marina is open in the summer. And then there was the deli on Main Street, Ernie's, which was a store. You could get soups and pizzas and stuff like you could get little things for any meal pretty much year round. And then I guess it was around COVID. There, like, with all of the all of the tension. The owner of Ernie's, which is the Royale store, retaliated. She wasn't being treated very well, but she wasn't. And she retaliated and just closed her store. That was like the mainstay. And then, but ahead of that, she and the deli owner had a pact that they would diversify their inventory, so they didn't overlap, but they could more fully cover the demand. And so the deli owner, which was then the coffee shop, because the deli owner actually sold the coffee shop. Oh, we still have. But the coffee shop took over the deli and then started limiting their offerings. And then with COVID, coffee shop moved into the deli and shut down the deli.
Oh.
And it's just like things have just shut down consecutively since. And we've had like this dry spell.
Yes. So what do you do after you get your groceries out of
Yeah,
on your way home, or
basically, yeah.
so you really don't have anywhere to pick up?
No, we have to, the closest would be a local town, 15 minutes away. And when I was in Tiger, there was co-op right next door, which was nice, but then certain.
Yeah.
That was, expensive.
Yeah.
And then I get home with something like cream.
Yeah.
And it would be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Then you'd have to plan to take a cooler and all that.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a headache, but my husband works out of the house, and so we've just kind of reversed things in our house, so he does all of the grocery shopping.
Oh, that's good. Well, my husband does all the cooking, he's always done cooking.
Yeah, I like cooking, but it's just at the end of the day, it's not.
Well, by the time you get home,
Yeah,
that would be late.
yeah, and he mostly likes it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're home early.
Yeah. Yeah, he was, my husband is really fun on his way home, you know, he loves to just go in the kitchen and cook stuff.
Yeah.
Gives him time to unwind. You know, I mean, I'm, if I cooked one thing, I think in a mirror, I've probably done crock pot dishes, but that's about it. He hates crock pot. So, yeah. Yeah, we love to cook. But yeah, it's hard when you live out there and have to plan what you're bringing home. And
Oh, yeah, it's been really, we try not to let it do it on too much. Cause like, it's a beautiful, cool area, great community. You know, it's affordable.
Yeah.
All of that, and we would, you know, if we didn't own, we would choose differently.
Right.
It's just hard being in the around us, being in there here,
Mhm.
we ship jobs for anything.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but, yeah, I don't know. It's just. To adapt to it, rural living.
Yeah.
When we were in Boulder, like just about everywhere I live, I've been able to walk to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So this is a big part.
Yeah. When you're used
And, well, before I moved out to New York, we had an apartment in basically downtown Boulder, just up in the downtown, but I was 7 blocks away from work. And then there's a grocery store block and a half, like another, we had probably 7 grocery stores within a 10-foot. So I would go grocery shopping every single day.
Yeah.
Maybe times a day.
Yeah.
And then,
So did you walk to work mostly?
yeah, or I drive it,
Oh, yeah.
to go fast.
Yeah. You were late. Did you like Boulder?
Or, there are annoying things about it, and once you got out from the center, and you were in our, it's obnoxious to drive.
Yeah.
It was just, and now I went back, like, in December, and that was my first time back since, like 4. Maybe it's just been 3 years, just before, like 3 or 4 years. But anyway, it is so congested now. I can't believe it. And from DIA all the way north, which was just like wider than my end for the most part, and the towns are spread out. It's filled in and it's just a congested corridor. It was like bumper to bumper.
And you wouldn't think that, you think it's gonna be like wide open space.
Yeah.
Because, my son-in-law's brother lives in, I don't think he lives in Akron. Dale, one of these, but, he lived in Denver when they got married, and then we went to the wedding, it was in Beaver Creek. But we drove from Denver, rented a car, and it was crazy.
Yeah, and if you drive us around for the weekend, it's.
Yeah. We're done.
They've got one more thing to talk about, please. I'm so nervous talking in front of people. No, that's just John. I'm sure. How you got my good team?
Good. I'm Jed.
I'm gonna hang out.
Yep.
You're good. Okay.
We didn't say anything.
What else?
We're talking about Denver.
Sure.
Making work for us.
Thanks again, Rich, for all your help with that.
I stopped doing that, so why did somebody take it for me?
Actually, today, I was, mapping out,
Where were you during the pre-bid? Matt came, why didn't you come?
I've been saying,
Matt didn't get invited either.
To what?
I see him walking over, I'm like, what is he doing here? And then he's like, does Alicia need to be here? I'm like, well,
I
I
told
said she doesn't have to be here, but I said it's probably a good learning experience if she wants to come.
It would have been good to have it in there to talk about that funding.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Yep.
I'm sure. Sorry, I'm sure you guys.
I think it is.
Well, there is no funding to the council for this marketing project yet,
Right.
but you can't let it bid.
Right, I can't just wait.
Right.
To
Get
bid
a
it.
bid out before you know what the fund is, and then of course you have to bid out. You can't get the fund.
Right, yeah, if that's the government way,
It's a vicious circle.
that's how they get you.
I think it would be good to have a one-on-one on how we do attract funding and secure.
I don't secure funding. I'm project manager. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on
No, I
that.
think that all of them, you know,
But it's rare.
Yes,
how that works. I
Have
mean,
it like cycle.
Yeah.
all of that. This is, I went through this with my, or in my previous job.
into that section, and then down to. Because the project's down to that sometimes, you know, you can see the requirements, so many points get to a certain level. It's like, okay, we lose 1 to 10, we're funding for 5. Well, when it says 5, we're done next year, you might come to the street, so you'll end up. But it might take 4 or 5 years to get to 9, but you do it.
Yeah.
Like you did with the 89, and eventually got
right,
some funding on it, which is awesome.
It's an art,
Yeah.
but.
There's a lot of criteria.
you got there, you put that together, did it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
I think
so part of that Waterhouse Street proposal information, I printed it out and I'm not sure.
I didn't do this one.
You wanna do that one?
No.
And
No, I didn't do this one. I did one similar to this that has the arrows showing all the direction and flow of everything.
Okay.
It's the same base map, but I didn't do any of these notes or anything on here. No, I didn't.
Okay, it's probably from city.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
that word.
You go from one-
Beth, have you had a chance to set up a meeting with Caitlin so we can go over all this stuff?
She's not back to Wednesday,
Oh, okay, perfect.
so I sent her a note, but
Okay.
it's not gonna be when you guys do it. You're not trying to tell me.
If I need to come in the afternoon, that's fine. If the only time she has available is after 3 o'clock, I can stay late one evening to do that. It's something that she really needs to see before. We get, yeah, well, the 20. Yeah, no, it would be March 2nd, really, because that's when the vote would be, so.
2016. we put it in,
I sent her a note.
Okay.
Still waiting. Probably $500,000.
Oh,
But you-
For the wall down there and the city, that one, we ended up closing that down for 50 years. That
Well, this was the 2001 flooding.
flooding, yeah.
And we didn't close that all until 2018 or 19. It's crazy.
that was one of the first disaster recovery grants. That was distributed in the US.
We did that, working before the time that happened, and we did. And
So they were making it.
that was like $2 million.
Yeah, they were making it out of. That was not precedented.
Yeah. We had an army of people down there, and they looked at everything. And the instructions I got were really clear to very good notes, and it's like, it's 60,000 under. Just apply for it, you're gonna get the funding, and it's like, you don't have to do progress for it now.
Right.
And over that.
You got that snow, I know, this was-
And then all of a sudden they turn around and say, wait,
They didn't realize what the rules were.
yeah, you didn't actually spend this money on this particular thing. So
Oh, I-
remember that?
I remember that.
I said, coming back, I said, no, you said it was 60,000 or less, we didn't have to even guarantee you we're gonna spend it, we were showing the damage and we were paying for it.
Well, what I thought was what you said, I mean, is the emergency services, was we had that snow, remember the snowstorm one?
Yes, that one where we got like the.
And
2.5 feet.
I remember from you, I was all proud of myself, I couldn't Richard the check, I think I gave you 60 grand or something like that.
They declared it a state of emergency, so FEMA cut us a check.
Yeah, like, yeah, we just kept track of all of it, yeah, we kept track, we had all the hours and everything, time to solve. I don't know, we had a second or third year here, right?
Yeah. I was here, it was Orioles.
It's 2017 blizzard.
Yeah, and but it was, they combined all of the.
It was actually right around Valentine's Day. It was no, it was March. It was in March. We got 2.5 feet of snow and then the wind drifts made it, like, I know at my house, you couldn't even see the cars. It just buried the cars in snow.
Actually, sort of planned off, and I heard from another, but I really forgot who's gonna plow
Well, we got that, we got that money those, I remember that, I provided it to me, I must have been. But you're going. I was very.
Some of the funds.
Yeah,
Financial
well,
restructuring was crazy, we've got a guy down there. And that can attest to this, Tim is his name, is it Tim Ryan? He had a meeting with, let's have an hour conference call, he'll talk for 55 minutes and say, okay, any concerns? It's like, I guess we're done, and he's thinking out loud as he's talking about it. Like, maybe just shut up and let us, ask you a question. Won't do it. Maybe that's why the grants can come in together.
yeah, well, it was that for the, it's the structure of the thought.
Like,
Yeah.
standing up there in my sweatshirt, I got freaking neon fuzzies all over my shirt. Look like a hillbilly.
That's okay.
So I'll take a motion to come back from executive session. No decision was made during that time. Motion by Councilor Vaughn, second by Councilor Hicks. Nobody's here for public comment. Is there any new business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Vaughn, all in favor?
Aye.
We're done.